So we have here a distinguished panel. You have already heard Jorge's introduction, but let me tell you friends, that Jorge is serving his 4th year as trustee of our Rotary Foundation. He served as a past director and he brings a rich experience to the Board of Trustees of Rotary Foundation. So welcome Jorge to this panel discussion. Let's have a round of applause for Jorge, friends. Kressler is serving his 1st year on the Rotary International Board of Directors. Drew joined Rotary at the young age of, can I reveal it? At the young age of 20, and 21 years later he is serving on the Board of Directors of Rotary International. Let's have a round of applause for Drew Kressler. And our third panelist is serving his third year as Regional Rotary Foundation Coordinator RRFC. And now, of course, he is directly elected, and he is importantly also member of the Arts Club Society. Please, a round of applause for Director Subramanian. So we've heard a lot about the Rotary Foundation. We heard about Ukraine, we have heard about the peace centers, we heard about India's contribution and India becoming number 2. Let's have a different viewpoint about the Rotary Foundation. Jorge, you have served as a director of Rotary International, and now you are serving as a trustee of our Rotary Foundation. Can you tell me something about the two roles? Are they similar roles? Are they different? Have they different challenges? And which role you are enjoying the most?
Okay, thank you for the question, Bharat. It is a great honor to be seated either in the board of directors or the trustees board. But, you know, period of director is 2 years, trustees is 4 years. But it's rather different. Being a RI director is more focused on administrative topics in the zone. Director of India is a reference for the administrative problems or topics that are in India, because he's not familiar with Latin America, for instance. So, but of course, there are problems as youth, but mainly are the administration of clubs, districts, and the organization. Being a trustee is more focused on the big picture. Why? Because the programs are worldwide. If we talk about the Rotary Foundation grants, if we talk about the World Peace Center, it's around the world. So the topics discussed at the Board of Trustees, it is a world level. That is the reason I am here. I am from the Americas, but the global grants in the Americas and here is exactly the same. So that is the reason I'm here, to listen to you about your comments or how can we improve. So that is the difference. The director is more focused on the zone, and the trustee is focused in the programs worldwide. If you ask me what is better, I am a member of the Rotary Foundation.
Thank you, Jorge. Let's take it off from there. Drew, you're serving on the Board of Directors of Rotary Foundation. So Rotary, we have two important arms. Rotary International governed by the Board of Directors and the Rotary Foundation governed by the Board of Trustees. What do you think is the relationship between these two arms? Is it a relationship of cooperation? Is it a relationship of friction? How do they work together? Do they work at cross purposes? What do you think?
Thank you, Bharat. So I can't speak for what has been in the past, but what I can speak for is what it is in the present. And right now, the collaboration between the two groups is absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if it's known, but there is a liaison from both trustees and the board that sit at the other meeting. So for instance, when there's a board of directors meeting, there is a foundation trustee, Dean Roars from Canada, who joins us and is with us for all meetings. She's there to present the voice of the trustees, and in turn, we have a board of director, Pat Merriweather, who sits on the trustees while they're in session. With a mind that we're always trying to work collaboratively. We now have situations that most of our committees at Rotary International are both made up of foundation trustees as well as board of directors. So we're really moving the organization in a way for us to do things together and collaboratively. So I think now and in the future, you will see more and more of that.
And let's also add that we have at least each year at least 2 joint meetings of the board and trustees every year so that we can work together as a team and not at cross purposes. Thank you, Drew. Raju, coming to Jorge mentioned something about global grants. You know, these global grants for most people are very, very difficult. Global grant forms are difficult to fill. The general perception that it's a great challenge to fill global grant forms. And you need a real expert to do this. In the process, we are creating a group of people who are privileged, who are so-called experts, exactly the thing that you don't want to create. What is your opinion about these global grants and global grant forms?
Thank you, Bharat. I entirely agree with you. I don't think we need experts for this at all. If a Rotarian can sit and understand why are we applying for a global grant, who does a needs assessment which meets with the needs of the community, has a financial plan in place, has got partners with the global grant, creates a detailed project report which you do for other projects which shows good planning, has measurable goals which will create good stewardship for you, and it is sustainable and aligns with the Rotary's area of focus. You have these things on a piece of paper written down before you, open the computer, go to apply for a global grant. It's just a case of filling up facts in the form, which is a very, very simple process, unlike what it was when we were applying for matching grants. I think experts sometimes are not really in the interest of clubs or districts. And I do think that every one of us can be a person who can easily apply for a grant, because the process is now simplified. You can take sanction before, and you need to understand the financial planning before going into a grant. But please, for God's sake, don't ever think that there are people who know more than you. It's just that we are not applying our mind, we are not following the process which is prescribed, which makes it a very, very simple application with just a half hour of sitting before the form and filling the form. So Bharat, it's a simple process, provided you apply your mind prior to sitting on the laptop.
Thank you, Raju. I think the point he brings about is that this is information which is necessary for the foundation team to have, which is necessary that if the foundation team has to approve the grant, this information is absolutely mandatory. It's not really very, very difficult. And bear in mind that our regional grants officer are always available to help and guide the Rotarians in this process. I think maybe you want to say a couple of things about that?
One more thing. Every district has got a set of cadres. We are not utilizing them. Those cadres can be useful for you when you go and apply for a grant. Utilize the cadres in your district and they will help you for the purpose of analyzing the form that you have filled. Don't ask the cadres to fill the form. You do the form yourself. Ask the cadres to check if it is fine, and I'm sure they will be of great assistance to you.
Thank you, Raju, for bringing up that important point. You have 2 groups of people, the cadres and our regional grants officers who are there to guide us in whatever global grant applications that we are doing. Let me come to you, Drew. At the board level, we talk about good governance. At the foundation board of trustees, we talk about stewardship. What is this that we are talking about? Stewardship, what is this and why is it important for the foundation?
Thank you, Bharat. This, to me, is what separates us from any other foundation in the world, and what allows us to have the 4-star Charity Navigator rating is that we take such great pride and care of the funds that are given to our foundation. We make sure that almost every piece of that dollar goes to programming, and very little to nothing goes to the administration of our foundation. Stewardship is paramount, because if we don't have that integrity, why would people want to give? We not only have Rotarians give to our foundation, we have corporations that give to our foundation. We have the biggest players in the world, Bill and Melinda Gates and their foundation, trust our foundation because of the concept of stewardship. So as we manage our grants on every level, it's incumbent upon all of us to make sure we take great pride and purpose in how we're allocating dollar and how we're reporting the dollar, because being transparent And showing the world exactly what we're doing enables us to have that top rating and maintain the integrity of our organization.
Thank you, Drew, for highlighting that importance of stewardship. Bear in mind, friends, that if you go to a bank and take a loan, the first thing, of course, you have got to repay that loan. Second thing, you have to pay interest on it. And the third and very important thing is that the bank asks for guarantor, asks for mortgage, anything they want to give you that loan. The foundation is giving you that money, no interest is charged, nothing is asked for. It doesn't ask for repayment, it only asks you to implement the programs as per the programs which you have submitted, and it asks you to report and see that the grant funds are utilized in the best possible manner, and that is our sacred responsibility. Thank you, Drew, for that answer. Jorge, we talk about contributions to the Rotary Foundation, and when we talk about contributions to the Rotary Foundation, what comes to our mind are asking Rotarians to contribute to the Rotary Foundation. But I know that you have a different viewpoint about this. What do you think about contributions to the Rotary Foundation? Should we be only targeting Rotarians, or should we be having some different thinking as far as this is concerned?
Well, in my humble opinion, we have partnerships like Bill Gates Foundation, Bill and Melinda Gates invested in Rotary for the polio campaign. And we have USAID as another partnership. But I was telling this morning to President Shaker that the charity market only in the US is the 700, last year was $728 billion. All the wealthy people in the world are donating that money to charities, NGOs. And we are not in the line. We have to change our mind. We have very good experiences with the GPAI, the alliance with, as I said, with Bill Gates. We have to look for new alliances, new partnerships. I think it's the best way to grow. As President Mehta said, we have to think big in Rotary and the Rotary Foundation. And maybe the best way for that is working, for instance, look for an alliance or partnership or donors in each one of the areas of focus. We already have in polio and in water and sanitation, we are working with USAID, but maybe we need to look for other donors or other partners in the short term to grow in other areas of focus. That is, in my humble opinion, a good way to grow Rotary and the Rotary Foundation.
Thank you, Jorge. I think the point Jorge has brought about is very, very important, friends. As far as the foundation is concerned, we have always been internal looking at ourselves and looking at Rotarians and the resources of Rotarians. I think we need to change that focus to also being external looking at the outside world. And Jorge mentioned about the Peace Center. The Walter Foundation has given $15 million to the Rotary Peace Center. If that is not endorsement of the work that the Rotary Foundation does, if that is not endorsement of the trust that the foundation commands from everywhere, I think that's the best endorsement you can have of one foundation giving to our Rotary Foundation to implement the Peace Center in another part of the world. Raju, there was this question that is part of the question that I was thinking of, but this question already came up there, directed gifts. And you saw that was such a close thing. There is a different divergent viewpoint. Directed gifts, some say, are very good, and they are great opportunity to increase the contributions to the Rotary Foundation. Others feels that directed gifts are directly impacting our annual fund contributions. What is your view about this?
It directly affects and impacts the annual program fund. Directed gifts, the only beneficiary is the person who gives that gift. The foundation gets nothing except 5%. And I think there is nothing that comes to the foundation, and all the money that we were actually getting into the annual program fund is now going into directed gifts, because those who give that directed gift get the benefit of that gift in the same Rotary year, But what suffers is the contribution to the annual program fund. And I would definitely think, Bharat, that there has to be a rethinking on directed gifts, that it cannot be that the entire amount goes only towards a gift for a project. I appreciate that it has great project community benefit, it affects the community, it helps the community, also maybe having a public image part of it, but at the same time, it cannot be unless we take a part of that as a mandatory contribution also to the annual program fund, so that we get back our DDF and our cash matching. And I think that's suffering, and I think we need to do that.
So thank you, Raju, and I think good point that has been brought out by Raju. Go for directed gifts, but also have some linkage to annual fund contributions, because annual funds are the one which allow us to do those global grants tomorrow. Jorge, there is a lot of mystique about the investment which the Rotary Foundation does. There is a general belief that the Rotary Foundation is only investing in the US, where sometimes the markets are not doing so well. Why not invest in India? What is your opinion about this?
Thank you for the question. But at the beginning, in the first question, I talked about programs, we talk about the stewardship, but maybe the most important responsibility of a trustee, the Navy trustee, is to take care of the money of others. So maybe the biggest responsibility we have is to invest the money of the Rotary. The Rotary Foundation has assets in the amount of 1.5 billion. That means $1,500 million in assets invested. Since I was in the board of directors in 2017, we have an office on the investment in-house, in Evans, with very professional people staff, analysts, and we have advisors, Vizag, we have a committee of investment with experienced Rotarians, and every 3 months, quarterly meetings, the trustees discuss how to invest the money. We have a portfolio depending on the investment. For instance, polio money. We receive 150 million in 1 year, and we have to have the money available and safe. So that is the reason the polio money is invested in treasury bonds of the United States. Because maybe the yield is 1% or less, but it's safe. It is money from Bill Gates and Rotary, and we need to use in the same thing. For the annual fund, we can take risk because it's an investment in 3 years. And for the endowment fund, it's a long-term investment, and we can have a portfolio with higher risk. For instance, the year before, the return on investment of the endowment was 26% a year. The investment depends on the markets every year, but the average in the last 10 years of your money, and the Rotary money, the Rotary Foundation money, was an average of 6%.
Thank you, friends. The point to be noted is that long-term investments are not made only in the US, but they are made in areas of the world where we can have diversification and better returns also. Drew, one quick answer from you. Where do you see our Rotary Foundation 5 years or 10 years down the line?
I see it bigger and better than it is today. Our foundation has the opportunity to do amazing things. We've seen it through the decades with one investment, 105 years ago, has literally changed the world. So I see bigger and better things for it.
Thank you. Raju, a quick one from you. 2 thoughts of, you are an Archcom Society member, but you continue to give to the Rotary Foundation. Why do you continue to give to the Rotary Foundation?
Because I think it's a foundation of trust, which I mentioned also, which Bill Gates trusts, governments around the world trust, a lot of other corporations trust. I don't think there can be a better foundation which does so much of good in the world and does it silently and so well, seeking to undertake projects so large as eradicating polio, and now malaria in a country like Zambia. Nobody thinks the way the foundation and Rotary does, and I think that's why I continue to support and will continue to support the Rotary Foundation.
And as President Jennifer in her speech said, 2 provinces in Zambia, program started 16 months back. Already mortality from malaria is down by 50% in those 2 provinces. Friends, if that is not the great work that the foundation does, what can be better work than the Rotary Foundation? So friends, as I ask you to give a round of applause, let me bring to you what Emerson once said. To know that even one life has breathed easier because you have lived, that is the meaning of success. The Rotary Foundation is that power of one Rotarian, one club, one district multiplied many times over. Each one of you, each one of us, my friends, has that power of one within us. Let us use it wisely and well to support our Rotary Foundation today, tomorrow, and every year to come. Thank you to all the panelists for the great work that they have done and giving us a different viewpoint about the Rotary